Our journey to understand Lao Dzъ has brought us here to Copenhagen, the home of Nils Bor, one of the greatest physicists of the 20th century and one of the founders of quantum mechanics, a theory that is remarkably successful but very difficult to interpret. What really interests us is that Bohr was also an admirer of Chinese thought, and he believed that Lao Dzъ could give us insights into quantum mechanics. Niels Bohr and his longtime friend and colleague Werner Heisenberg came up with what came to be known as the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics. According to the Copenhagen interpretation, the most fundamental particles that make up the material world do not have a determinate location or motion, technically momentum, until they are measured. Likewise, light sometimes behaves like a particle, but sometimes behaves like a wave spread out over space. For centuries, Newtonian science presented a world in which the states of physical objects are perfectly determinate and their behavior can be predicted with absolute precision. However, quantum mechanics reveals that the submicroscopic world seems to be governed instead by indeterminacy and probability. This shocking paradigm shift led to debates among the greatest minds in physics. Bohr had a long-running and intense but friendly disagreement with Albert Einstein about the nature of quantum mechanics. Einstein famously said, "God does not play dice with the universe." What he meant by that was that the structure of the universe has to be ultimately determinate and governed by causal laws that are determinate in their outcome. Bohr recognized, though, that what quantum mechanics revealed was a universe fundamentally guided by probability and by indeterminacy. Only a flexible kind of logic, like that derived from Lao Dzъ, could deal with the new quantum phenomena. Bohr's connection with China goes back at least to 1937, when he stopped in China as part of a world tour. But we know that Bohr was already interested in Chinese thought prior to that time and had read about Lao Dzъ as part of his general education growing up. In particular, the notion that yin and yang are paired concepts was very important according to Bohr. Understand the white while preserving the black and become a model under heaven. And if you become a model for everything under heaven, then constant virtue will never err, and you can return to the infinite. Lao Dzъ recognized that in the world around us, there are things that depend upon one another, but are also in tension with one another. And that it's only through these contradictions between things in reality that we get creation and evolution over time. In the classical Western tradition and logic that goes back to Aristotle, they claim there are no contradictions in reality. And if you encounter a contradiction, that's an error in your thinking. Quantum mechanics overturns the Newtonian conception of a clockwork universe that had dominated physics for centuries. Even more shockingly, it calls into question Aristotelian logic, which had served as the foundation of Western philosophy for millennia. When Niels Bohr was knighted by the Danish government for his contributions to physics, he got to design his own coat of arms, and he put the taiji 2 on his coat of arms, which shows the influence of Lao Dzъ's ideas on Bohr's thoughts.